Okay, hello. It is the evening here, so good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Today, I want to talk about my dreams because I believe there's a very clear message in them, and I just wanted to share what is going on. So, for context, if you haven't seen like my other videos on this channel, I just moved from like California to South Carolina alone and left like everyone behind. When I first did that, it was a really harsh decision, which was like an old pattern of mine, just like basically run away. But prior to me even leaving, like I understood that I did want to give an opportunity to like friends and family to see me like one last time, and just like have a conversation about what was happening. And I'm gonna be really candid, it was really for them to get closure or like not to be carrying forward from that interaction. Like I sent a very like abrupt text, like not to carry forward like, oh, I'm doing something wrong and pushing you out of my life, because that's not what was happening. It was just that I was so unhappy in my like circumstances, mainly living in my family's house, and like I couldn't change the circumstances. Like I had been trying for like a year and a half and it just was not working. And like even when I would share that with family, like I was not getting like reciprocation. So I just felt like I needed to get out of that environment and just like go and orient myself in space and honestly see how my energy shows up when there's not constant like disruption or overstimulation or a lack of understanding coming from people there that love me, if that makes sense. So that was very nice, like having that opportunity for closure. And like I definitely will reconnect with my friends and my family when the time is right. But with my dreams, I've been here for like 3 weeks, and probably for the last week I just continue to have dreams with so many people from my past. It is like wild, the people that are popping up from my past and the context in which they're popping up. Like it's so interesting because it'll be people that I knew from like elementary school to high school that I didn't have like necessarily deep connections with, but it was like, you know, when you're in school, like you kind of, I especially, I knew everyone. Like in my elementary school, K through sixth grade, at one point, I had two siblings that were like each spaced 2 grades below each other. So like my brother was 2 grades below me, my sister was 2 grades below him. I knew every single person in my grade, in their grades, and the grades between, besides like the kindergartners, because I didn't have, you know, like that was so far away socially, but like I literally knew every single kid's name. Not all of them, but like maybe there's probably 200 kids there. I knew like not 10 of their names or like 20 of their names. Like it was very interesting. Like I don't know, that's how my mind works. Like also when I worked at Starbucks, I knew like everyone across my entire district because I would go and work at the store and like know them, and then I knew them, you know? Yeah. So like people just keep popping up in my memory in the most like idealized version, like so casually. Like last night my dream was me at school and I was like in class with my classmates, like chatting just like casually, like between work, and then there was a festival going on, so we left the classroom and I left with like my little group in that class, and we were like sitting, like hanging out, chatting, and we were sitting like at a booth that another student was running, or like student, and we were just chatting with those students, like just very casually. And it just felt so simple and like so easy, and just like, oh, here we are, just like hanging out, like doing the festival. And then I saw one of my former best friends, like one of the people I mirrored very closely. And it's so funny because now I notice that like I carried forward so many traits that we brought out in each other in that relationship, and that relationship ended 6 years ago at this point. And it's like I'm just now seeing how much of him I've carried forward in my life, which is really beautiful, but also comes with so much grief because that person's not accessible to me anymore. And I don't know if I would ever want to reach out back and like let that person back in my life because of the context in which that relationship ended, which I'm not going to get into. But I saw him, and like at that time in my life that that festival was happening, it was like my junior, senior year. Like that was my person. Like I felt most comfortable around him with anyone. And like when we would get together, we would go into our own world. Like it was honestly insane when I think back to it, because like just the way that we would mirror each other so clearly, it was like one of us could just move our body in a certain way, and like the other one was on the floor laughing so hard, like and people were staring at us like, what the hell is going on? Like you guys aren't, like, how do we even engage with you right now? Like you're literally in your own world. And we just did not care. Like we would just stay in it, like around people, like it didn't matter. And sometimes, like, I'll be real, we would like make fun of people in that state as well, because like they wouldn't really understand, you know, our nuance. So like that was something that we'd play into too. Like we'd make it like exclusive around people, and that would cause the other person to feel isolated. um just had to air that out there, a little bit of my shadow. But so I saw him like at the festival, and I was like, oh my god, I haven't hung out with Will in so long, like I need to go talk to him. And so I just got up and like left that little social circle I was in. I wasn't like really good friends with anyone I was around. They were just like, you know, the classmates that you talk to in your class. I always had those as well in every class. Like I always had my little group that I chat with. And it's so interesting because that's just a facet of me. Like that always happens. Like I can just always find those outlets, or like people like gravitate towards me, and then we just have our little niche. Like it's so nice. I don't have that now, but we'll get into that. So anyways, I like went over to Will, and I literally just like was up in his face, and I was like, oh my god, like I miss you so much. Like can we please hang out like outside of school, like on one-to-one? And he was like, yes, like I miss you so much too, like let's hang out. And it was like such a deep moment of like intimacy and connection. And then I woke up and like these have been the themes of my dream. Not that intense, and it wasn't even intense in the dream. It was just nice to be known and held by someone, and know that like I could voice that need for connection and that like vulnerability of like, I miss you so much, like can we please hang out, and know that it'd be reciprocated, or like to have it be reciprocated. But my other dreams have been more of like, I'll say like collective level, where it's just been me in environments with like people from my school that I wasn't even close with. Like they were just always lingering on the outskirts. Like this one kid I knew from like kindergarten was in one of my dreams, and he was just there like interacting, and it just felt so nice to have him there, like being, because I was like, oh, I don't even know you, but like we're just like chilling, you know. And that's been the theme of my dreams, just like being around people like casually, like really low stakes conversations, like really low stakes interactions, just being like received well, but in the sense of like everyone's kind of just like saying whatever they want, and like no one's judging anyone, or like if they are, they know it's a joke, or like you can kind of just like laugh it off, and it's not like a judgment. It's kind of just like, oh, like social dynamics, like it's very teenage energy is how I would put it, like figuring yourself, like ourselves out together. And it's so funny because it's with these people that I didn't do that with. Like I wouldn't allow myself to interact with those people in that casual way, because I perceived them as like popular or like outside of my social bounds, even though I was still doing it with those people. It was just, it always felt like a risk at the time. But now it's like I was finding solace in that in my dreams. And yeah, I've been waking up with like a lot of grief over that, because like I left college and burnt all the bridges that I made there, because there was just a version of myself that I couldn't sustain in those connections, and it would have constantly have been like reinforced with the people that I knew there. And it's like, do I regret that decision? No. Like I'll give a instance because I want to. Like I had one friend and I lived with him. Most of my close friends I lived with, actually. It was the first time that I had become friends with any, or really close with any like men in my life that weren't LGBT. And we were very close. Like we had a really nice like roommate dynamic. There were 6 of us, including myself. Well, 5, honestly. One of them left and we didn't like him. But this roommate was the one that I was closest to. Like he would always spend time in my room. Like when I was gone, I always left my door open, and he would ask if he could go in there and like hang out, because his room always had his roommate in it. I had the single. And I was like, of course, like I appreciate you asking, but if you ever need to go in there and I'm not there, like that's fine. Like you can hang out in my room, because I trusted him. I knew he wasn't going to do anything weird, and he didn't. Like he would just use it as like a safe space in our apartment where he knew that he could be alone and like access that. And like I'd be at school, I was working. I was one of the only people in my dorm who was like had a job. So I wasn't there as much as them. Anyways, with him, like I had observed very questionable qualities in him. He also openly admitted that he was a very controlling, manipulative person and that he knew that about himself, but that he was actively trying to change that, and that was true. Like there were ways in which he would not behave like that around me because he knew that wouldn't fly, but one day that side of him slipped through the cracks and it was just, I was gonna say devastating to me, but like when it happened, I was like, well, yes, this is who you are. This is who you've been hiding from me. I could always see it. I always just kind of turned a blind eye to it because it wasn't affecting me directly until it did. And when it did, um, I didn't really even react in any way dramatically. I kind of just accepted it in the moment and knew internally, like, you're not someone that I'm going to build a deep relationship with for the rest of my life. Like, I knew at some point this relationship was gonna have to end because I was gonna get over it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was gonna reach a point where I just couldn't continue because I knew that it just wasn't something that I would want. And so I kind of just let that play out while I still knew him until it was the time that it ended. But I don't know why I shared that. I just wanted to share that. Oh yeah, that was the last environment that I had like sustained connection to peers that were my age, because like I haven't worked in like a job with people my age for a long time. The last time I did that was at Starbucks, and like that was also at school, like where this last opportunity was. So it was like I had the third place, not the third place, but like I had my roommates, my friends at school, I had my friends at work, but I only actually ended up becoming close with 3 people at my work. One of them actually left. It was 2 people because at my prior store, I just got way too entangled in people's interpersonal dynamics and they just ended up hurting me or like shitting all over me. Or it was like, I don't know, it just got like messy because I was in a leadership position, like leading peers, if that makes sense. And if you've done that before, like in your early 20s, you know how sticky that can get, or how people can just like project onto you or be like, oh, you think you're like better than us because you're in this position. It's like, no, I literally have to be in charge of you right now. Like, you guys can't just be talking all day because like you want to shoot the shit at work. Like, no, like we're not going to do that. And it's like, I was always like feeling like some of my coworkers would get super annoyed with me because because I was the only one that would really enforce that. And I was their age. So it was like, why aren't you just like chill with us? You know what I'm saying? Or it felt like that division. And that eventually went away, but the damage was done, so much so that when I went to that new store, I like completely boundaried myself. Like, I did not seek depth with any connections, to the point where like every time I'd work a morning shift where, you know, like you can be in a really dynamic, like fun, high energy state, I'd always choose the position where I would have a headset on and an earbud in and like just zoned in on my station. Like, I would not talk to anyone. I wouldn't really be warm. No, I'm naturally a very warm and expressive, like open person, so that's something that I can't turn off. But like I was very careful with how I engaged with people, because in those environments, I just had noticed how slippery people can get. And it was mainly around gossip. I didn't want to be taking place in workplace gossip in the sense of like, okay, this is really your only social outlet and you're gonna be a bitch. And that's what was happening there. And that's, I don't know, y'all, that be happening everywhere, every workplace. I swear to God, it's so dramatic. So I only had 2 connections that I actually formed depth with there. And one of them I did end up like forming a relationship outside of my work. And that was really nice and actually really healing experience, being friends with that person and their partner who didn't work with us. Like, it was nice because we created our own world outside of work. And that's what I wanted. I didn't want interpersonal work dynamics in that environment because they caused me so much pain at my previous work environment, and it just wasn't worth it. And it wasn't, honestly. Like, I don't regret that, but it was very interesting. I did definitely withhold more than I had to because I was so scared of like enmeshing with people at work to the point where they would like punish me socially if I didn't go along with them. And I mean, I don't know, it was a learning experience, so I can't say I regret that. But yeah, like my dreams have just been this like collective ambience of like social ease and like no social friction and just like openness and like receptivity to just like hang out and be with people. And that's just not something that I have access to in my life right now. It's something that right now I believe I'd have to build where I am. And like, I'm in the South. I've never been in the South before. I don't know how I will be received in this environment. And so like, I'm getting a lot of like assumptions of how these people will receive me in my head based on how I've been received elsewhere. Like, I keep thinking I'm just gonna be like a novelty person. Like, oh, this like gay guy from California, like I want to be friends with him because I've never met someone like that here. But I don't know how true that is, and like the fact that that's thoughts in my head are like honestly self-sabotaging sometimes my like ways to make connection. Like, I met this girl at a sandwich shop and she so clearly was bidding for connection, and I met that connection, but a part of me was like, are you only bidding connection because I look interesting right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, I had these like cool sunglasses on and I know they make me look a certain way, and I had a headscarf on, a crystal on, and I was wearing pastel colors. I've not seen one person that looks like me here. I've seen alternative people, which is really nice to see in this community, because now I know that like I'm not just the one-off like person that you can clearly tell is not trying to follow like the social norms here, which I feel like in most places across the world is minimization, and we can get into that in a second because I'm just going. But yeah, like I just keep waking up with like grief. And it's like, it's so sad because there's so clearly a part of my psyche that's like, why are you denying this to us? And why did you just remove every possible avenue for that to happen in our life? And I don't have an answer. I need to be sitting, or I'm sitting with that ambiguity right now. And like, it's been okay, but like, I don't know. It's just, I don't even know. Like, I don't know how to set up or how to fall into like deep connections with people in a safe way to where they're not oversharing, or like I'm not oversharing, or like we become emotionally enmeshed. Like, that's something that I'm still trying to learn. And honestly, I'm like hyper focused on it, and it's kind of stressing me out because I'm like, oh my God. I will say I met this person at like what was it? A metaphysical shop. Like, she runs it. And like, that is her point of contact. Like, she is a touch point in the community for people who are seeking like just ease and like a nice container to just express themselves. Like, she's a very open, receptive person. And we had like a nice 3 hour long discussion that was very nuanced and went through many different topics, many different periods of her life. Like, she's in her 60s, many like different ways in which I'm thinking right now are still figuring things out. And it wasn't even necessarily like a reflection of self. It was kind of just like, I'll hold space for you to share what this is bringing up for you, and I know that you're gonna hold, or over the course of the conversation developing, I know that you're gonna be able to hold space for whatever comes up in the conversation for me. Does that make sense? Like, it was just kind of like that. Like, we could just hold space for whatever each other's stories or experiences in life were bringing up for each other, and it was really nice. And like, that's what I'm seeking. But the last time that I built that for myself, and I built it really quickly, it just imploded in my face. Like, the people that I was around just started to like voice the insecurities that I made them feel around me, as if that was like something I wanted to hear, or like something like, basically like they'd just be like pitied around me. It was so weird. Like, one of the people would just like keep roasting me, and I was like, what the, like, why are you roasting me? Like, I hate that interaction style, because it always signals to me like, oh, you feel insecure around me and you're trying to make yourself look big because you feel small around me. But like, that, I'm not doing anything to make you feel small. I'm just holding space for myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so weird. Another one of them was like, oh, well, like, you're just like so lucky in life. Like, it's not fair. Girl, what the hell are you talking about? Like, get that pity out of here. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, sometimes I feel like I'm harsh for that, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want you to just be expressing how I make you feel pitiful about yourself around me because you're comparing yourself to me at that depth. Like, I'm just here trying to have a good time. Like, you know, like, I just want to hang out and like be in presence and in relationship with you. And then another one of them like stereotyped me as a gay man one time, and I was like, what the hell does that even have to do with me being gay? And he got all like uncomfortable and like, oh well, like I didn't mean it like that. And it's like, but that's what you just said. And it's like, so am I just revealing people's shadows to themselves? Like, are you just projecting onto me because you think I can handle it? Like, that's a fucking rude. Like, I don't want to be around people that are like that. And then I had a really intense experience that shifted my perspective on life to the point where I actually could not like see things the way that I used to. It wasn't as dramatic as I'm making it seem, but when I showed up next to that friend group, we would go to the climbing gym together. I noticed that I would mention something and it was so interesting. It was like they would take that topic, like it was 4 people, and they'd bounce it between each other. However, it resonated for them for, I swear to God, like 20 or 30 minutes without re engaging me. And I try and like engage again or like shift the energy or the way the conversation was going into a way that like I felt like I could actually express myself and be seen. And they'd literally shut me down. They'd be like, no, we're not talking about that right now. Like, we're talking about this. But what you were talking about, I brought up. It was so weird. Like, I literally was like, what the hell's going on right now? Like, it felt like I was the current and they were like the receivers, and that I, like, they would just reciprocate my energy between them, but it never got back to me in a way that felt good in that dynamic. And then I just realized, like, that was not the last time that I was around those people, but it was like the next times that I was around them, I held back because I was like, okay, well, let's see what happens when I don't do that. And nothing happened. There was no depth. There was no nuance. I was bored. I was like, what? Who are you people? Like, why am I even around you? And so then I just like distanced myself from those people because, I don't even know. I was like, what even is this anymore? And like, there was a lot of red flags going on that I don't need to get into that were just like, I don't need to be involved with you people. Like, a lot of like lack of introspection, lack of like knowing self, which is okay, but like I'm really seeking people that know self to know self. And that's also something I'm trying to build within myself, like just knowing myself by myself. It's part of the reason why I moved here, but part of my psyche is so clearly struggling so deeply with that because I just keep having these dreams where like connection and familiarity is present and it's so easy. But it's like, this is such an adult life struggle as well. Where can I find that here? Like, I don't know the third places. I don't, like, I just keep running into a lot of like older adults, not people necessarily my age, or like people my age kind of just like look at me like, oh, like they're intimidated by me, which I've received my entire life by my peers. Like, people seem very intimidated to approach me because I don't know, like I just hold myself like that. And like, I don't know, part of that too is like I am holding myself in a specific way that does make me unapproachable to peers my age, but like I don't know how to change that. Like, I'm not gonna shrink myself to make you more comfortable around me. That's what I did with that prior friend group I talked about, and they just ended up projecting onto me and saying a bunch of shit that had nothing to do with me. Where it was like, what the hell are you even talking about right now? Or like, I don't know, it was just like shitty. It feels shitty. Like, I feel like shit when I'm in those dynamics. Cause it's just like, who are you? Why are you using me to figure out who you are? But didn't I just say that's what I'm seeking from other people? So I'm also really confused. I will say I do have an anchor of like one connection where there seemed to be mutual attunement. And it, when I first was in that relationship with this person, it was so exposing to me that I like was scared to be around her alone. Because like we both could hold so much space for each other that like when we were together, we would honestly just sink into like presence. And I had never been around someone where we weren't just talking the whole time about like their issues or like my issues, just like complaining basically to each other about our lives. And like that was so rare when we would do that, and it was always met with such depth. So it was like horrifying for me to be in that experience, but it was like that's what I'm seeking now, is something like that, where like someone could just meet me in mutual presence. But like, knowing from my own experience, that's a lot to ask someone to step into like right off the bat. So yeah, like I'm glad that I was able to meet with that person here who, like at that metaphysical shop, because she's held space like that her entire life and was used to it. But yeah, I don't know. It's just really interesting. Like, I'm just really longing for deeper connections. Like, small talk's fine and everything, but like, it's boring. And I don't know, like, people, every time I be having small talk with people, it just seems like they're like ashamed or like hiding an aspect of themselves because they don't feel comfortable expressing it. And like, I can feel that. And I'm just like, I don't have grace for that right now because I'm seeking like who they are. And so like when they're hiding aspects of themselves, like a part of me gets offended and it's like, where are you? You know, like who am I even speaking to right now? Or like, why can't you meet me here in this moment? Like, why are you assuming I'm gonna judge you? But like that has nothing to do with me. Other than I'm just like very open. So I don't know. Maybe that intimidates people. Like I don't know. They're also adults. Like these are like not people that are my age, which is normally who I experience that with. Like these are like, you have a fucking career. Like who are you? Why can't you, like why are you being all weird? And then it's like, oh, okay, well I guess you maybe only know yourself when you're with your best friend or whatever. But then like, do you know yourself? Ugh. Y'all, it's just like exhausting. And yeah, I just wanted to share that. Um, I also just realized that this is what my dreams have been trying to tell me because I keep waking up like, what the fuck are my dreams trying to tell me? And like, I write down my dreams to like get messages from them. I've gotten clear messages from them about who I am in this world in the past. And now it's feeling like it's just a part of my psyche that's like, why are we alone? Why did we isolate ourselves like this when this is something that we're seeking and we just got rid of the avenues that we could have it in? And I don't have an answer for that question other than the avenues that I had it before just didn't feel right. Like, it felt like the same thing I've always experienced where I hold more space for people, but other people don't know how to hold space for me or would rather just sit and gossip or talk about other people than themselves. I don't want to do that anymore. I did that for so much of my life, just gossip, gossip, gossip. It got me in the worst headspace. It took me years to get out of that headspace. So critical of others, so judgmental, so like such an isolating experience to be walking through life thinking I can't talk to that person because of X, Y, and Z. Like that's fucking ridiculous. Like that's so prejudiced. Like I'm not gonna do that anymore. And I don't like to be around people that do that subconsciously because I don't want to engage with you like that. Yeah. So that's what I have to say. I'm curious if anyone's feeling the same right now. I think a lot of the collective is really longing for this type of connection. And I want to create it here, but there's just like right now so many unknowns and so much uncertainty that doing that feels like the most daunting task. Like I don't have an anchor point for me to go and like recuperate self other than like, I don't know, I guess being here. I'm scared to do it. I'm scared to be vulnerable right now. I just like, I've been received well in this community, but throughout my life, like whenever I meet people, there's always this just like who are you? Like what can you offer me? And it's like I'm just tired of that. I don't want to go through that cycle again right now. Like I'm not stable enough to feel comfortable like setting boundaries on how I'm wanting to be communicated with or like what I want to discuss about another person or like what I'd like to do. Like I just don't feel comfortable doing that right now because I don't feel like I have anywhere to consistently ground. Like I feel really floaty, and it's like that's for me a difficult space for me to set boundaries. Also, I only recently started setting boundaries in my relationships in the last like year and a half. Before that, it was like I'd be pushed to my limit and just self-abandoning the whole time. So, yeah, I just want to share where I was at because I also haven't been feeling called to like film anything because I just feel so like stuck in life. Like, I don't know what I want for myself other than what I'm sharing. But like I'm saying, I don't know how to build that. There's an avenue that I know I can find that in right now, and it is that metaphysical shop. Like they have workshops on like more spiritual things, but it's like I don't necessarily want to connect just over spiritual stuff. Like I'd rather just connect over like your whole broad experience of life. Um yeah, and I'm gonna circle back to this. Like I do also want to connect to that aspect of myself, but every time I try, it's so ambiguous and just so like unknown, and like it feels futile. Like it just feels like there's nothing there. And I'm like, which then ties me back into, is it okay for me to be seeking that from others when I'm just trying to fill like a hole in myself through interaction with others? But it's like humans need to interact with each other, but it just seems like everyone's scared to interact with each other, or like scared to have depth, and like I am too. So then I feel like a hypocrite. Because I'm also scared of like being judged, or how I'm being perceived, or I catch myself like editing in the moment. But a lot of that too is like I'm not actually editing in the moment, I'm just meeting the moment the best I know how. But yeah, I don't know, I can just like feel a lot of discomfort in others when I'm like showing up as myself, or like a hesitancy, or like a, I don't know how to engage with this person, they seem so intimidating, and it's like I'm just showing up like, and I can feel that they're like that, and that's an instant, in my mind, an instant no. I don't want to be around someone who's not comfortable interacting with like another person that they, do you know what I'm saying? Like that's not a viable, I don't see that as a viable relationship to seek further depth from. Like I just keep finding like it feels like closed doors. I found 2 open doors though. Um but they're not people that are my age. They're people who are like in their 40s or in their 60s, and like I did come here to connect with people like that, but my dreams are so clearly calling for such a childlike innocence with people, and I don't know how to find that from like my peers, because it feels like everyone's trying to be someone. We're like, not be like that, like be an adult. But it's like being an adult is allowing yourself to be in that state of innocence because you know boundaries. That's how I'm seeing it now. And like that's how I'm learning to be. And it's like I want to learn how to do that with people I'm in connection with that are my age. Like people who are willing to step into that vulnerability. But yeah, I don't really know. Also, I have like so much relational trauma around setting boundaries that like to do that for myself is so difficult. So it's like to ask someone else to do that as well, I feel like, why I can't even do it. So why would I expect someone else to? But that's such a like a lame mindset to have. Like, you know, it can be hard, it can be difficult. Am I willing to meet someone there? Yes. Like that's literally what I'm asking for. Yeah. I'd also like a partner, but that is like that to the extreme. Um and I'd like to find like stable friendships here prior to seeking out a partner. Because even my most deepest friendships have just like been a very deep experience of seeing myself in another, and then it ends when I get what I was gonna say what I've needed from them, but it's what we've needed from each other, the reflection that we showed each other, and I've been the one to call it. But it's just because it gets to a point that I can't sustain who I know I am in that relationship anymore without compromising self. Like that's a really hard line that I know was true when I left those relationships. But it's like so much of me was brought to the surface in those relationships to be seen and integrated, and it's like that takes years for me to process the depth of what I access with another person that I can also access with self. But it takes me years of, not like years, but like at least a year and a half to integrate the depth that I've accessed with those people. And the whole time I'm like, who even am I anymore? And it's like I'm coming out of a cycle like that, and I am very hopeful overall that I can find connections that will be sustainable for me and not necessarily reach that depth so quickly to where it's like we just come together and burn out super fast because we experience all of each other, and then we see each other's shadow and it just has to end because there's no more to have happen. Like, it just isn't good to stay in that connection anymore. Like, it's done what it needed to do. Like, I have a lot of faith and hope that I can enter into more slow, reciprocal relationships that build depth over time. But like, there's some part of me that's so desperate to have that now, and it's like that can't happen as easily as my, or like, I don't know, a part of me believes it can't happen as easily as my dreams are making it seem, but maybe my dreams are trying to say like, no, this is possible now, like, just show up in this energy. But like, for the past week here, I don't have access to that energy. Like, I just don't. I'm so depleted. Like, I'm sleeping so much. I'm just so exhausted. Like I said, that uncertainty and those unknowns in my life are really, really draining my life force right now. Like, a huge aspect of my body, my nervous system is like really scared, and like that's taking a lot of energy to process. So it's like I do have to be with myself right now. I can't go, like, I can't show up for other people at all in the way that I would want to, and like that will just feel bad for me. Like, I can do small talk. Like, there's a coffee shop I've been going to, and it's been nice to go there and like chat with the baristas. They're very friendly. Or honestly, anywhere that I go where like the person's down to chat, like I can have a good small talk connection, and I feel good walking away from that. But like, to build depth right now feels so scary, but maybe that's exactly what I need to do. And not like build depth, but like begin to seek that from others. Like, maybe that girl that I spoke to, I don't know if I made this clear in this prior part of this message, but there was a girl who like, oh yeah, this is the one that I was assuming was like judging me. Like, maybe I could go back to that shop and be like, hey, you seem to be pretty chill. Like, do you want to hang out sometime? And just see what happens. Like, put myself out there and take that risk. Because, like, that was someone who was my age. They did reach out for a bit of connection. And were able to reciprocate it in that moment. And, like, I don't know if what my mind's telling me is true. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that could be nice. But that's kind of all I have to say. I just want to share my dream and like what that is bringing up for me right now. A lot of grief. Not like super heavy grief, just like, what am I doing? Like, where is that for me? Like, will I find that again? Like, is this something that I will never have access to in life again? And like, the same ease at which that was available as a child, like, some part of me is like, that's never going to be able to happen again because so much of society believes so. But I don't know. Like, I'm honestly sitting here refusing to believe that that's true, because that's just a horrible mind. Like, that is such a bad mindset to carry forward. Like, that's so negative. And like, what's that gonna do? Like, I hate when I see people saying that online. Like, oh, everyone sucks. Everyone's just a fucking loser. Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, that's a really shitty mindset to be carrying around, and I don't want to be carrying that around. Like, that just makes me feel like shit, especially when I see it. So I've been having to be really discerning about when I'm going on social media, who I'm seeing on social media, like what critical narratives are popping up there and clicking away, because I just like, no, like, I don't want to be looking at the collective shadow right now. Like, I want to be looking and embodying a different perspective on connection, because I don't know, it just seems like human connection is something that, I'm sure you're aware of this as well, and this is a perspective that kind of leans into that, like, it's really dwindling at this time. Like, people don't know how to show up and be genuine and honest. Like, it's so scary, or like, people feel so isolated even in their like deepest, most intimate partnerships. They're like, I feel like this is just not something for me. And it's like, I don't want that for myself, and I don't want to be seeing those narratives all the time. Like, it's just so negative. And I don't think that's true. I don't think that's the only way that things are going to be, and I don't think it's going to be like that forever. And I think that if you are intentionally seeking that, like I am, that it'll find you. And I did already find it. I had a really deep, genuine, nuanced connection with that person at that metaphysical shop. And that is a resource. And I don't even like to say resource. That is a person that I can continue to grow a relationship with, and know that I will be met in that space, in a way that is nourishing to me here. Or at least that's how it appears at this time. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I'm enjoying so much. That's really nice. That means to me that this is really like a release, and it's very nice for me to get my thoughts out there. But yeah, this is just a 40-minute conversation of me rambling about that. So if you listen this far, thank you so much. I hope that something that I said resonated with you, and that you feel seen in some way. That's why I wanted to make this as well. Like, anytime I know that I'm sharing my deepest thoughts and what's on my mind, like, I know that someone else can also be in this place, and it can be a reflection of self, which is exactly what I'm seeking. So I hope that I was able to be, a nice offering for you, or something that made you feel seen and heard, and that you're not alone if you're dealing with this, because you're most definitely not. I've also been feeling like this for a really long time in my life. Like, this isn't something that's new. This is something that I've been aware of since I want to say I was a child, like around 12 years old. I'm 24 now. That's like half my life, and it's not always been this heavy and this hard, but it's like I did just isolate myself from everyone, so it's really hitting very heavily. And I'm still not even sure why I made that decision, or what was driving that factor, or if that's something that was like a huge self-sabotaging act. But I guess I could figure it out. It's not like the like I didn't burn all the bridges to my past. There's still connection that's to be had there in the future. It's just for right now, I'm with self, and this is what's coming up. Yeah. I love you so much. I really do appreciate if you listen this far. Like, thank you so much. You can like, comment, subscribe, or you don't have to. I will be posting more videos like this, just very candid, just chatting, sharing my feelings. And yeah, I love you, truly. Like, you are seen, even if it is by like a cashier or barista, or in passing. Like, people do love you. You love yourself. And yeah, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you for spending this time with me. And I do feel like a weight has been lifted off of me. I feel a little bit motivated to go do some things that I've been avoiding. And it's been nice because I haven't been sitting too deeply in that grief, but it's definitely been present. And it's been difficult for me to discern what I want for myself here, because that grief is present, and it's influencing my future, or what I want for myself here, in a way that I didn't think it was going to when I first moved here. So that's been a really like big paradigm adjustment for me in this space. And I say paradigm very literally, because I'm like, whoa. Like, when I first got here, I wanted to isolate myself in a cabin in the woods, and I finally have that opportunity, and I'm like, do I actually want this? Because my dreams are saying, no, you don't want that. You want to be around people. You want to have access to humans, not isolated in a small town where I don't even know if people are open to connecting. And that's something that I thought that I wanted when moving here. But it's like, now that opportunity is presented to me, and it's a very real possibility that I can have that, it's like something in me is like, no, that's self-sabotage. Like, that's just further isolation that you're already feeling so much grief over. But I mean, maybe that grief needs to be processed. So, like I said, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of unknown with these things. And like, yeah, just sitting with self has been really important. And I was gonna say hard, but it hasn't been hard. It's just there's a lot of ways in which I'm falling into habits of avoiding it, but it's just because it's really intense. And it's like, if I stay in that state for too long, I do end up like getting in the inertia of it, and I can't actually do anything. Like, it clouds my vision so much that I can't clearly like discern what I actually want for myself in the now moment. And there's like such an invisible pressure that's being put on myself. Like, there's absolutely nothing that I have to do here. Like, literally. And if you're thinking like, oh, but like what? No. Like, there's literally nothing that I have to do here. Like, I'm in a very privileged position with that. Like, I really can just sit with self for a long time and not have to worry about too many like logistical issues. I've set up a very secure container for myself over the past couple years, and now I'm just kind of sitting in it to see what happens. And this is what's happening. So yeah, that's all I have to say. I know I already said like the outro, but I just kept talking because I'd just be rambling. But I don't know. I just wanted to finish my thread of thought. And yeah, I hope that this helped. And thank you for listening. Bye.